Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today we have a review on the Fokker D.XXI. This of course was picked up during the May sale for War Thunder, obviously the VE Day sale. And this is one of two vehicles, obviously including the four vehicles I picked up during the sale. Obviously, I got the Swedish starter pack, which you can see down there. I have the Stridsvagen and the Fokker. I also picked up the M5A1 Canadian Stuart and also the Avenger Mark II, which is upcoming in a review very soon. So let's start out with the Fokker, and well, unlike Meet the Fokkers, which is an old TV show, no, it's an old film, isn't it? That proves the caffeine's not kicked in yet. Unlike that, this isn't particularly great. Now, in a down tier, it is. It's a good premium in a down tier. The problem is you can't guarantee it's going to have that. And it's got some quite significant flaws, which is going to let it down, to say the least. So we'll go over the weaponry, the guns, the engine, etc., and we'll cover the aircraft in good detail. Of course, this vehicle does not come with any armor protection. There's a good reason for that, and it really doesn't benefit the plane either because I believe this aircraft was first designed in 1935, and it definitely isn't worth 2.0 BR. If I was to personally suggest a BR, I'd put it at 1.3 to 1.7, purely because of the performance. Speaking of the performance, let's take a look at the engine. Now, this may look familiar, and yes, that is a typo. It shouldn't say Mercury twice. This is the Bristol Mercury V8 9-cylinder radial. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Joe, this isn't a familiar engine to me. How is it familiar? I'll tell you. If we just quickly get up a biplane, it's pretty much the same as the Icobe's J&A slash the Gladiator series of aircraft. You have a biplanes engine, and you're at 2.0. Not great. Now, of course, you do get a little bit more power because obviously this is a different variant, but it's only by 20 horsepower. And as you can see, the max speed is not actually that great. Of course, this is stat card, so this can change. And at low altitude, this thing is a dog. It barely touches 210 miles per hour on the deck, but it does make up for that with its firepower. You get two 20mm Oerlikon FF cannons with 468 rounds a minute fire rate, and you get 60 rounds apiece. I recommend ground target ammunition and 400 meters convergence for the guns. Your backup weapons are two 7.7 FN Browning M36 No. 3 machine guns, that's a mouthful, try saying that when you're drunk, with 500 rounds of ammunition and an insane fire rate of 1600 rounds per minute. Compared to normal Brownings, which only have a fire rate of 1000, you're going to burn through these pretty dang quickly, let's put it that way. Of course, there's nothing really else to mention. There's a bit of oil cooling here, and the only fuel tank is in the center of the aircraft, and of course your pilot's there. But that's pretty self-explanatory. So what's the major problem with the Fokker? Well, it's not just the engine that's weak. This plane is fragile, full stop. This plane can't really take a hit unless it's to the wings. The engine will die in literally 2 hits, because trust me, you're going to see in this match. The Stuka that ends up killing me one-shots me. And I know some people are going to say, but that Stuka has a twin 7.92 tail gun. It should kill you regardless. You're correct, but I've died to armored cars in this thing. And I don't mean player-controlled armored cars. I mean AI-controlled armored cars. That's how fragile the engine is on this aircraft. But of course, as I said earlier, universal in the 7.7 Brownings, and you want ground target ammunition with 400 meters convergence on the 20 mils. You get no external payloads, which to back up the tank with, well, I'll cover that in the starter pack premium review, of course, but this is definitely not a great aircraft, and this is really the main downside of the Fokker. It's just not good for its BR. So how about we go take a look at what the Fokker got up to, and let's see how it can get on. Now in this match, this is a slight up tier to, I believe, 2-3. I'll obviously confirm it as I go through. I'm pretty certain it was a 2-3 match, from what I remember. Of course, it is a small match, and personally, it is a plane that is very dependent on its BR. If it's top dog or 2.3, it'll do some work. If it's 2.7 or it's 3.0, you ain't doing squat. So getting us going, as you can tell, my team started off with the P-26 crashing. And yes, it is a 2-3 match, I just confirmed. Let me just turn down the engine sound because I was playing on desktop earlier today. That's better. So, starting off, the climb rate of this aircraft is around about 2,000 to 2,500 feet per minute. Depends on the angle you climb at. And this certainly is not impressive, to say the least. It's definitely lacking in the climb rate. And this is further pointed out in this battle. Of course, I'm not that high above the Russian planes you can see over there, because there's an army of Russian planes and German planes over there. There's a Yak-1, an I-16, a Chaika flown by a Smurfer, which, if you're not sure what a Smurfer is, ask in the comments, someone will answer it for you. And I was thinking about going for him first, but obviously I didn't know if he'd seen me or anything like that. So in the end, I eventually decided to go for the I-16, but of course keeping an eye on the Chaika. The Chaika is probably your biggest threat for the same tier, so to speak. Other than the G2 Stuka and G1 Stukas accordingly. For Allied fighters, you're going to want to avoid Hurricane Mark IIs, and the I-16s are pretty durable, like they're pretty strong as well, but not when they take 20mm cannon fire. That's going to be kill number 1. Now, of course, for anyone that's curious, why there's a CW in this match, and I said 2-3, this was flown the day when the CW got up-tiered, so just to let you know. Downtiers 17 comes out of nowhere, which I do eventually spot him, and I obviously go into a defensive turn. And the problem is with the Fokker as well, you're noticing I'm using the flaps. The problem is with the flaps, they only have the landing setting. Now, it's useful for getting shots like this, but not so great if you're trying to dogfight. To put the maneuverability into a perspective, I'd put it around a C200. Maybe a little lower. It's not the most maneuverable aircraft in the game, and it certainly doesn't feel like it handles very nicely at low speeds either. And of course, being fixed landing gear, it has a lot more drag compared to some of the planes you're going to meet, and it's just not great. As well as, of course, the fact that this aircraft costs 700 Golden Eagles. Why would you spend your money when you could just buy the Morko? That's all I'm saying. So of course, the Smurfer down there with his Chaika has actually taken engine damage, and I wasn't sure at the time if his engine was dead, or it was very close to being dead. I decided to go through and make sure that it was finished off, because a Chaika, as I said, is a very big threat to you. Only use the MGs, of course, because obviously he's going at granny's pace, and that's kill number 3. But of course, this isn't a match that's gonna... It actually ends in a loss, for anyone that's curious. Because of course, I do get shredded by the G2 Stuka, which there isn't really an approach angle you can go safely for them. I tried to go for the tail area, but the thing is that it's only today, as I'm recording this, that they actually patched the Stuka, so if I was doing this match today, as I speak, he would not be able to do what he's about to do. But he can, because this was the date when the CW was up-tiered. I think it was the 25th. Because yeah, I'm keeping this recorded just in case I need it, because I'd rather do it now. Of course, he fires a good burst, instantly takes out my engine, give a taste of the cannon, cripple him entirely, and the last cannon shells land home and kill the Stuka. Kill number 4. Ju-88 decides to go for a head-on. turret's playing to bits, and I become a loft conversion. But of course, that Ju-88 did take a lot of damage from that. He's lost an engine, he loses control, and plants it into the ground. And that's an ace. Unfortunately an ace that ends in a defeat, but there's only so much you can do really. So in conclusion, is the Fokker D.XXI worth your money? No, I don't think it is. It's an aircraft that has quite big flaws for a 2.0 plane, and if you really need a rank 2 Swedish plane, just get yourself the Morko. That's the dog's bollocks when it comes to that. If you want a rank 3 and you don't want to buy any of the, well, obviously by the time this video comes out, the Bf109 G6 for Sweden will be out. I wouldn't recommend purchasing that either. I'd just buy the Pyramid ski. So that's my recommendation. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Fokker D.XXI, and I will catch you all on the next one.